Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. This is going to be a serious one, right? And I think that various people's views may break in various directions depending on where you stand on this entire subject matter. But as you guys know, the WNBA is back, and the biggest star in the WNBA is Caitlyn Clark. All right, there's no debating this. If you look at the crowd size that she brings in, the record numbers of attendance, viewership, she's been a phenomenon unto herself, right? And has really helped uplift the league from a rating standpoint. And of course, the other players, great players that have built a foundation that she's now able to take to the next level. She's paid homage to a lot of players in the past. But there's also a player worth talking about as well, in Angel Reese. And it seems like these two have had a rivalry going back to their collegiate days, and it just continued on into the NBA. So recently, they played a game, and let me just quickly state this. I don't watch the WNBA, but I'm aware of this story. So they played a game, and I was actually, when I was away this week, or last week rather, in New York, it was hard to kind of follow these stories. So I would see it, but then I didn't really pay much attention to it. So now that I'm back, I can actually sit down and really take my time and understand what has been going on. But I know this story. So apparently there was a play where they were playing, and Caitlyn Clark hard fouled Angel Reese, and then she jumped up quickly off the floor, and then they had to be separated. Various teammates got involved. And that really kicked off this entire saga, right? And then people started weighing in from various points. Oh, you know, does Angel Reese hate Caitlyn Clark? Does Caitlyn Clark hate this? And everybody's been giving their 2 cents on the situation. But then one particular person decided to weigh in, and that's former ESPN employee, former NFL quarterback, and RG3, who used to play for the Washington Redskins, but now I think they're called the Washington Commanders. So he weighed in, right? And his comments stirred up a lot of controversy. But initially, he weighed in via a post that he put on his Instagram. Not his Instagram, his Twitter. And I want to quickly read it for you guys. It says the following. After watching Caitlyn Clark's flagrant foul on Angel Reese in the aftermath, there's no way Angel Reese can continue the lie that she doesn't dislike Caitlyn Clark. I know what hatred looks like. Angel Reese hates Caitlyn Clark. Not some basketball rivalry hate either. Hate. Now, this particular post, folks, generated 13 million views on Twitter, right? And it was those posts that really kicked it off, because people like Des Bryant responded to him, and then RG3 responded back to him, and then things just got going. And then RG3 then took to his podcast, which I think is called Pocket Watching, something like that, and he was on there and he was talking about it. Now, to give you guys the backdrop, a white lady in the back, who I assume is his wife, was sitting in the back, right? So she's like on a couch next to a wall, and RG3 is giving his views, which from an optical standpoint came off a certain way to certain people. And some of those people that didn't like the optics of it and what he was saying was Ryan Clark. But before we even get into what Ryan had to say, I want to play what RG3 had to say on his show that caused Ryan Clark to then respond to him. So take a listen to what RG3 had to say there.
So where was this type of reaction last year when Angel Reese got chokeslammed by Alyssa Thomas of the Connecticut Sun? Y'all remember that? She got fouled so hard, they kicked Aaliyah Thomas out the game with a flagrant 2 foul. What did Angel Reese do? Nothing. She didn't get up and try to swing on her. You know why? The reaction was different because of who did it. And there is a lot of history there with Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese. You guys remember last year when Angel Reese celebrated Kennedy Carter getting that flagrant foul on the hip check against Caitlyn Clark? You remember that? On the sideline, just, yeah, baby, get her, you get her. Who celebrates like that for a flagrant foul on another player if they don't dislike that player? Okay, you want some more evidence? Here's some more evidence. Remember last year when they were talking about who gets the credit for the expansion and the eyeballs and the popularity boost of women's basketball, not just the WNBA, but women's basketball in general, because of the spike in the women's NCAA tournament and WNBA viewership. A lot of people were attributing that to Caitlyn Clark, and rightfully so. This is what Angel Reese had to say, and I quote, "People are talking about women's basketball. You never would think they'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to the games. We got celebrities coming to the games, sold out arenas just because of one single game. Just looking at that, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on to be that for my teammates. I know I'll go down in history. I'll look back in 20 years and be like, the reason we're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too. I want y'all to realize that." Now, I heard a lot of people say that I or others have made Angel Reese the villain. Did you not just hear herself call herself the bad guy? She called herself the villain. I'm not making her the villain. She's making herself the villain.
So you heard what RG3 had to say. So then Ryan Clark heard that, and he decided to go on his Pivot podcast. And if you know anything about Ryan Clark, especially when it comes to issues like this, he doesn't hold back. He says exactly what he thinks. So what we want to do is we want to play what Ryan Clark had to say, and he didn't mince words. He didn't dance around the issue. He stated exactly what he thought and what he believes are some of RG3's motivations to take the positions that he's taken. Take a listen to what Ryan Clark had to say here.
We moved in to being able to read the expressions of a person and know their intent, know their character, know their perspective. But he does understand hate, because I think he also understands the hate of self. When you look at the play, which is all we can speak to as professionals, all we can speak to as analysts, Angel Reese pushed one of her teammates. Caitlyn Clark had a hard foul, which is part of basketball. I feel like it was assessed correctly. And Angel Reese's reaction is the sort of reaction you get in a situation when you feel like you took an intentionally hard foul. That's competitiveness. That's rivalry. That's not hate. And so now, though, when RG3 jumps on to the hate train or to the angry train, it now follows along with what we saw from Keith Olbermann, what we saw from Dave Portnoy, as they poured on to Angel Reese to make her the villain in Caitlyn Clark's heroic or hero story. Right. The one thing we know about RG3 is he's not having conversations at his home about what Black women have to endure in this country, about what young Black women and athletes like Angel Reese have had to deal with being on the opposite side of Caitlyn Clark's rise and ascension into stardom. Now, when you look at it, I think A'ja Wilson is the face of the league. A'ja Wilson is the best player in the league. Caitlyn Clark is the most important player in the WNBA. And a ton of her fandom has come along with some racial bias or some racial pieces to why people love her so much. And so now, if you're RG3, when is the last time within your household you've had a conversation about what she's dealing with? You haven't been able to do that because in both of your marriages, you've been married to white women. You haven't had opportunities to have those conversations to educate you on what they're feeling, what Black women deal with, what they're seeing when they think of a young Angel Reese. And the whole time that he's mimicking Angel Reese and bobbing his head and moving his neck while he's doing this whole piece, his wife is in the back amening and clapping. And so to me, it's just another situation that now this young lady has to deal with. When I worked with RG3, he would make all of these sort of corny jokes about milk and how much he loved it and how important it was. And he always points out on social media the color of his wife's skin, as if the color of her skin is what makes her special, as if the color of her skin is what makes her a good wife. I've met the lady, I've had a conversation with her. Right. I think she's more than that. But it also leads to what Black women deal with a lot from Black men who have chose to date or marry outside of their race. They always feel like they have to go the extra mile to prop up the woman that they're married or the woman that they're with over Black women by denigrating Black women. I feel like we should have an opportunity to move past that and understand that Angel Reese can be great in her own right, as Caitlyn Clark is as well. Caitlyn Clark is a likable and lovable superstar. She pays homage to the stars of the past. She pays homage to the Black women that have come before her. And now she is carrying the mantle forward. So there's no need to pin those two against each other and paint them based on stereotypical tropes. And I think this is what I'd like RG3 to know, that no matter how much he continues to echo the microaggressions of racists, he'll be no less Black than me.
Fantastic. So you heard what he had to say. Okay, let's unpack this issue. There are a lot of things at play here. Okay, let's talk about the optics of it. I'm just kind of playing mind reader right now and just trying to imagine what Ryan Clark was seeing as he was watching that clip from RG3. Here you have a Black guy, former NFL player, former ESPN analyst, who's taking these positions against a Black female athlete in Angel Reese. From a cultural, racial standpoint, that rubs some people the wrong way. Some people don't care. Some people, it rubs them the wrong way. And then you now juxtapose his views with the optics of his white wife sitting behind him. And I think people like Ryan Clark listening to RG3 speak in that particular context will take issue with him. And I think that that is what prompted Ryan Clark to say what he said, because I think Ryan's comments were essentially centered on what he believes are the motivations behind RG3's views, right? That's what I think. He also gave the example towards the end where he spoke about the days when they used to work together and RG3 would start talking about milk and how much he loves milk and all of that stuff, right? He was bringing that up, I believe, to essentially say that, look, this guy has a thing for white women, okay? And he has no issue with having a slant against Black women. That's what I believe Ryan Clark was saying. RG3, on the other hand, is just possibly saying, hey, look, I think this, I think that. Now, I don't want to turn RG3 into a baby because he's a grown-ass man. Not only is he a grown-ass man, he lives in the United States. So there's certain things that he would be privy to. There's no way on God's green earth that you're going to convince me that RG3 wasn't aware of the optics of it all. Taking that position, given your white wife was sitting behind you, given some of the things that have been said about you historically, there's no way you can tell me you don't understand where people are coming from. Not saying they're right or they're wrong, but there's no way you can tell me you don't understand that. Right? I find that to be a childish position to take, if that's the position that you're taking, right? That would be childish. Now, what's my conclusion on all of this? Look, I think Ryan Clark is speaking for a particular constituency of people out there that share his views. And I think that RG3 is speaking for a particular contingency of people out there that share his views. Now, let's take it a step further, because I'm not going to be up here twerking because I don't care one way or the other, because this story ain't got nothing to do with me. There's some people that think that people like Ryan Clark are too racially charged in the sense that, oh, everything he says, he's always looking at it from a racial standpoint. Oh, they're always making this about, there are people that think that. I also know that there are people out there that think that people like RG3, Black men who make it their business to go out there and say things, whether it be about Black people or Black women in specific, that echo some of the sentiments that their white counterparts feel, but they're unwilling to say, but they say it. So therefore it's okay. I think that there are people that look at RG3 like that. Like, you're just out here parroting some of these views that white people have against blacks, but they can't say it because it wouldn't be socially or politically correct, but you can. So therefore, you go out there and do their bidding. This is the reality of the world, folks. There are people that think all of this. Now, in my personal opinion, I'm not as invested into this Caitlyn Clark, Angel Reese drama because, as I said, I don't even watch the WNBA. I only started paying attention to it last year. So it doesn't resonate with me to that level, but I am aware of what's going on. I'm not going to walk around and stick my head in the sand and act like, oh, I don't know. No, I understand what's going on. I understand what's going on. Now, it's also important to say this. Just because you're a black guy married to a white woman, that doesn't mean that you're always going to support white people over black. There's some black guys that are married to black women and still feel this way. So I don't think it has anything to do with that. I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all solution, but this thing does happen. And I think that a lot of blacks are upset with RG3 because it's like, Des Bryant said it in his comment. He's like, bro, you must understand that there's a racial element to all of this. And there's always a racial element to almost everything in America. Let me tell y'all something. I was just recently there, as I told you guys, for my sister's graduation in New York City. And I hadn't been to the States since then in 5 years. And when I was there, man, I was at her, because she had two graduation ceremonies, one at Parsons, one at the new school. And I'm listening to some of the speakers. Bro, even in the speeches, there's a political angle in there too. America is highly politicized. Highly. Everything is about politics. Everything is about race. Whether people want to admit it or not, we can play the game, we can dance around it. I'm going to call it like it is because I don't lose anything by telling you the damn truth. It's there. It is woven into the fabric of society on every single level. So it's just business as usual in the States. It is just business as usual. And this situation here is yet another example of a bigger issue that resides in the United States. That is the bloody fact. These two here that you see going back and forth won't be the first, and they definitely won't be the last. These are my thoughts. There's some drama taking place out there between RG3 and Ryan Clark, which is centered essentially on this ongoing beef, or whatever you want to call it, between Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese. It all stems from a play that they had where Caitlyn Clark fouled Angel Reese, and then it turned into this big thing, and everybody's reacting, and oh my God, and we need to respect this, and we need to feel this. It's just one big cluster, you know what, right? Just one big. It's like WNBA, man. Y'all just can't play basketball. There always has to be some damn drama attached to it. I don't understand what's going on, but anyway, we have that going on there. So RG3 then takes to his Twitter and posts the following, and I want to read it for you. After watching Caitlyn Clark's flagrant foul on Angel Reese and the aftermath, there is no way Angel Reese can continue the lie that she doesn't like Caitlyn Clark. I know what hatred looks like. Angel Reese hates Caitlyn Clark. Not some basketball rivalry hate either. Hate. So, those were the initial comments that kicked this entire thing off. He said that. Then Des Bryant responded to him under that post. So then RG3 goes to his channel on YouTube and he, I guess, expands on his views. And during this talk, during this monologue, his wife was sitting behind him, a white lady behind him. So you already know what that's going to lead to. So he gives that talk. Then Ryan Clark gets a whiff of what he said, and I'm sure saw the video. And then Ryan Clark decided to go to town on RG3, and let me just say, folks, he didn't hold back. For those of you who didn't hear what Ryan Clark had to say, I want to give you guys a quick refresher. So take a listen to it here, and then we'll continue on the show. Take a listen to Ryan Clark here.
We moved in to being able to read the expressions of a person and know their intent, know their character, know their perspective. But he does understand hate because I think he also understands the hate of self. When you look at the play, which is all we can speak to as professionals, all we can speak to as analysts. Angel Reese pushed one of her teammates. Caitlyn Clark had a hard foul, which is part of basketball. I feel like it was assessed correctly. And Angel Reese's reaction is the sort of reaction you get in a situation when you feel like you took an intentionally hard foul. That's competitiveness. That's rivalry. That's not hate. And so now, though, when RG3 jumps on to the hate train or to the angry train, it now follows along with what we saw from Keith Olbermann, what we saw from Dave Portnoy, as they poured on to Angel Reese to make her the villain in Caitlyn Clark's heroic or hero story.
Right.
The one thing we know about RG3 is he's not having conversations at his home about what Black women have to endure in this country, about what young Black women and athletes like Angel Reese have had to deal with being on the opposite side of Caitlyn Clark's rise and ascension into stardom. Now, when you look at it, I think A'ja Wilson is the face of the league. A'ja Wilson is the best player in the league. Caitlyn Clark is the most important player in the WNBA. And a ton of her fandom has come along with some racial bias or some racial pieces to why people love her so much. And so now, if you're RG3, when is the last time within your household you've had a conversation about what she's dealing with? You haven't been able to do that because in both of your marriages, you've been married to white women. You haven't had opportunities to have those conversations to educate you on what they're feeling, what Black women deal with, what they're seeing when they think of a young Angel Reese. And the whole time that he's mimicking Angel Reese and bobbing his head and moving his neck while he's doing this whole piece, his wife is in the back amening and clapping. And so to me, it's just another situation that now this young lady has to deal with. When I worked with RG3, he would make all of these sort of corny jokes about milk and how much he loved it and how important it was. And he always points out on social media the color of his wife's skin, as if the color of her skin is what makes her special, as if the color of her skin is what makes her a good wife. I've met the lady, I've had a conversation with her. Right. I think she's more than that. But it also leads to what Black women deal with a lot from Black men who have chose to date or marry outside of their race. They always feel like they have to go the extra mile to prop up the woman that they're married or the woman that they're with over Black women by denigrating Black women. I feel like we should have an opportunity to move past that and understand that Angel Reese can be great in her own right, as Caitlyn Clark is as well. Caitlyn Clark is a likable and lovable superstar. She pays homage to the stars of the past. She pays homage to the Black women that have come before her. And now she is carrying the mantle forward. So there's no need to pin those two against each other and paint them based on stereotypical tropes. And I think this is what I'd like RG3 to know, that no matter how much he continues to echo the microaggressions of racist, he'll be no less Black than me.
Fantastic. So you heard what Ryan Clark had to say. Well, apparently RG3 took exception to that. So much so that he went to his Twitter and posted a response, a full wordy response to Ryan Clark, where, number one, he questioned his integrity as a human being. He called him out for going at his family or wife and kids and suggested that ESPN even fire Ryan Clark because it reflects poorly on them as a network. So what we want to do now is we're going to play what RG3 had to say in response to Ryan Clark, and then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what he had to say here.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy RG3, and I just wanted to get on here and talk to you guys because there's been a lot of buzz, a lot of conversations about my sports take that Angel Reese hates Caitlyn Clark, which was purely based in basketball. But I think all of you know there's a line in life that you just simply don't cross. Wives and children are always off limits, and Ryan Clark has sprinted past that line. Ryan Clark didn't like my sports take that Angel Reese hates Caitlyn Clark, and that's fine. It's okay. It's part of the game. Sports media, I'm going to have an opinion. This person might not agree with it. That person might not agree with it. But what you don't do is turn around and personally attack me and my family just because you don't agree with a sports opinion that is purely based off the sport. I didn't make it personal. But what that really shows is just how low of a person Ryan Clark is. But Ryan, you crossed the line, man. You made it personal and some. I really believe there should be no space in sports media for personal attacks. I've said it before. But certainly personal attacks against wife and children have always been off limits. Ryan, you attacked me and my family in a public forum on a level that shows just how low of a human being you are. You can disagree with me all you want. Challenge my takes, but keep my family and my wife out of it. That's a boundary that should always be respected, man. Always. Ryan Clark personally attacking me and my family because he disagreed with my sports opinion is a bad look for ESPN. It's cowardly, it's spineless, and it's weak. Ryan Clark personally attacking me and my family. Personally, because he disagreed with my sports opinion is a bad look for him as a man. I hope you get the help you need, brother.
So you heard what RG3 had to say. What are my thoughts on this? Well, let me just quickly say this. I don't remember, or I didn't hear Ryan Clark say anything about RG3's kids. I don't remember hearing that. If I'm wrong, you guys can correct me in the comment section, but I don't remember him saying that. As it pertains to his wife, let me first address it from RG3's vantage point. If I'm RG3 listening to this and I'm married, of course I'm going to feel a type of way the moment you bring my wife or wives or whatever into it, because I think he's been married twice. I'm going to feel a type of way. Any self-respecting man that is married, if you're having a dispute with another guy and they now bring in your wife, you've now gone to the next level, right? And frankly, the moment you go to that level, it's like, okay, all bets are off, right? All bets are off. There's no more reason with one another. Some people don't joke with that. They don't play with that. So from RG3's standpoint, he may have been listening to what Ryan Clark was saying, but the moment he now said what, it probably triggered him and it took him to a different place emotionally, hence the reason he said what he said. In the case of Ryan Clark, what I think Ryan was doing was he was, to quote the great Cornel West, having Frank's speech, where he was essentially speaking to what he believes are the underlying motivations or causes that's leading to RG3 propagating those views. He's saying, for a guy that's I worked with running around talking about how much he likes milk, for a guy that's only been married to white women, I'm not surprised that he's saying the things that he's saying. I'm not surprised that he's taking a position against Angel Reese. That's what I believe Ryan Clark is saying. Now, am I saying, is Ryan Clark the only person that feels that way? Hell no. A lot of people feel like that plays a role in some of the things that RG3 is saying. A lot of people feel that way. Now, is it enough for him to lose his job? Hell no. Absolutely not. It's not enough for him to lose his job. I don't believe so. You're going to lose your job for that? Absolutely not. I totally disagree with that. I 100% disagree with that. I don't even think it should be considered. You're supposed to lose your job for that. Number one. Number two, why are you hoping for this guy to lose his job? RG3, why are you trying to prompt that guy to lose his job? Why are you pushing for that? Are you that sensitive about it that he should lose his job? Wouldn't it be better you address the guy, but you're now saying that he should also lose his job? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And to be calling for somebody's livelihood to be taken away because you're offended, that's absolutely ridiculous, and I think that's weak. There are other ways that you could deal with situations like that than to say the guy should lose his job, he should be affected, his whole family should be affected because I didn't like what he said. Nah, man, you got to handle that a different way. So suggesting ESPN, no, don't bring ESPN into this. This issue is between you and Ryan Clark, number one. Number two, you put out these views. Again, these are not babies. I know a lot of people like to turn athletes into babies. These are not babies. These are grown-ass men. Right? These are not little kids that if you say something about them, one or two words, they're going to start crying. No, these are grown-ass adults. And I think that, look, you should handle this thing in an adult way. Not to say, you guys should go duke it out in the boxing ring. No, you can handle this as men having a conversation. If you guys need to get on a call, get on a call. If you need to get on this show, get on this show. Say, hey, look, man, I get that you feel this type of way, but I didn't appreciate that. He'll give his views. And then you guys can agree to disagree or whatever. But to say people should start losing their jobs over this? Nah, I totally disagree with that. So I think RG3 took it a little bit too far. And quite frankly, you cannot play the game of now being offended when you are saying things that are offensive to other people. Don't call for ESPN to come to the rescue. No. Say what you say. The other person's going to say what they say. You guys agree or disagree, and let that be that. But people shouldn't be losing their jobs over this. That's absolute madness. These are my thoughts. What a wonderful day. What a wonderful day. So anyway, as you guys know, the news of Michael Jordan joining NBC Sports about a week or so ago just brought so much joy to the internet, man. Everybody was so excited, that we're going to be hearing from Michael Jordan talk basketball. Finally, the GOAT is back and all that. Like, people are just excited, man. And I think the level of excitement from people speaks to the level of just total nonsense that has saturated the airwaves in terms of the sports media ecosystem. Just a bunch of nonsense. For people to be so excited to hear from Michael Jordan, it's like, well, what about all these other people we've been listening to? Why is it that we're so excited for an alternative? That shows you just how bad of a job and just how disgusting the entire landscape has become, right? So the news broke. Everyone is excited about it. People are trying to paint narratives like Gilbert Arenas out here talking about, oh, man, Michael Jordan, he's going to make Michael Jordan fans look dumb because he's going to be classy. I'm like, so let me get this straight. Michael Jordan's classiness is going to expose his fans, not the disgusting La Media that's been out here trashing him. He's not going to expose, just like clown ass Nick Wright that just yesterday was saying that, NBC Sports hiring Michael Jordan would be a great consultant for their gambling, arm of their company or whatever. That he won't expose that. So you guys get to walk off scot-free, and he's going to it's just Looney Tune language, right? Just a bunch of honey slinging, body shaking, twerkation, all kind of nonsense going on that side of the aisle. So that news dropped. So this morning I was actually just here uploading some content for us to be, to edit and work on. So I'm just sitting here going through my phone. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going through my phone and I see something talking about Michael Jordan gonna be making $40 million a year as a special contributor. And I'm like, excusez-moi, what? What? So I had to do some quick investigation. And folks, it looks like there's some damn truth to this story. Okay, so I'm going to read from a number of articles. First one here is going to be from, if this damn ad closes, it's going to be from HinduTimes.com. It says, Michael Jordan's net worth, how much he is being paid by NBC for NBA coverage. Michael Jordan, the NBA legend who is widely regarded as the best player of all time, will start contributing to NBC Sports coverage of the league this fall. Michael Jordan reportedly secured a historical $40 million contract with NBC, becoming the highest paid sports analyst in history. In a statement released on May 12th, Jordan, who's 62, remarked, "I am so excited to see NBA back on NBC. The NBA and NBC was a meaningful part of my career, and I'm excited about being a special contributor to the project. I'm looking forward to seeing you all when the NBA and NBC launches this October." So that's one article. I want to read from another article. This is from IndiaTimes.com. All about Michael Jordan's massive wealth is how his new deal with NBC is set to boost his earnings. Michael Jordan, one of the most popular and talented players in the history of the NBA, shocked NBA fans with his when he announced he would be covering the NBA on NBC last night. This news has excited fans as many can't wait to see him back in action in the NBA world. While the NBA legend already has earned a huge wealth, it seems his new deal with NBC is set to make him even wealthier. How much will Michael Jordan be paid as he signs a new deal with NBC? Last night, Michael Jordan appeared on a video message during NBC's presentation in New York, and then it goes on. It says, now, as per reports, the deal with NBC is worth a whopping $40 million per year, making his deal one of the most expensive deals in recent time. Tom Brady, the NFL legend, has a deal with Fox Sports for $37.5 million, which is still less than what Michael Jordan's new deal is getting him. And then I want to read from a final article where it says, here's why Michael Jordan NBC Sports is so special. This is from yahoo.com. It says, Tom Brady walked so Michael Jordan could run. As Tom Brady, widely regarded as a GOAT quarterback, transitioned to television following his retirement on February of 2023. Now it has been 22 years since Michael Jordan's retirement. He missed LeBron's rookie season by a New York minute, often known for playing the background in retirement. Jordan became the first black majority team owner in professional sports. He had that ownership stake in the Charlotte Hornets. In August of 2023, Jordan sold his stake in the franchise, which seemingly freed him up for other projects. Brady is in a 10-year, $375 million deal with Fox. It hasn't been disclosed how much the deal for Jordan was with NBC, but with those metrics readily available for the basketball GOAT, I am sure that he took a look. I wouldn't be surprised if those numbers served as a catalyst for Jordan signing on. So, what are my thoughts about this? He ain't getting paid enough. He ain't getting paid enough. $40 million ain't enough. $40 million is not enough, and I'm gonna tell you why. The reason $40 million per annum is not enough for Michael Jordan is because of the current state of affairs in the NBA. It's not like as if the NBA is going through an all-time high with ratings. No, they're actually suffering from low ratings. All-Star Game, don't even mention it. So you're bringing in the GOAT, knowing the type of attention, the type of revenue and all of this excitement he's going to bring to the league. It wouldn't surprise me if they paid him $60 million. And I'm being dead serious. Jordan is that much of a draw. He is that much of a draw. I'm being dead serious. He is that much of a draw. And the crazy part about this is he's reportedly going to be getting about $40 million per annum for pre-recorded shows. They got Tom Brady out there doing live shows. So look, man, I think this is fantastic news. I think he is deserving of every single nickel and penny he's going to be getting. And this is fantastic news if you're an NBA fan. And I think that the return of Michael Jordan, these people aren't dumb, is going to bring back a lot of fans that have stepped away from the game because of the absolute nonsense that is run amok.